Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to have Maddie on. Maddie Touran? I don't know her last name. I think that's her current last name, but I see she has her old email under a different name, so I'm assuming that I know she's married, but I'll ask her which is the last name she prefers. That'll be the first thing we discuss. Maddie's a great artist. She's coming on hopefully a little bit, but we're going to start without her and just kind of do our thing. I'm going to be working on some pages for some clients, listening to oldies tonight. Let me, how's that? Is that better? How's that? Testing. We're going to check something real quick. Okay. Seems like it's working just fine. Hey, what's up, Nick? Nicholas DeLuca. How you doing, man? Cool. What are you working on? Sorry, coordinating with Maddie. Some illustration stuff I believe I posted in Whips on Dan's server. Oh, cool. Have I seen them yet? You mean I'll take a look when I can. Your name in Discord is the same name you have here, right, Nick? You're not using something else? So the thing you're working on is this thing that you posted in Dan's server? That's pretty cool. Okay. Is this personal work? Paid work? Well, tell me about it. Also, man, I really need to set up my own Discord, my own server. It's getting ridiculous. 2,000 subs. Still haven't done it yet. I just like people asking about it. Hold on, I gotta check the script for this project here. See, I'm interested in this, Nick, because I'm wondering when you're doing personal work for your portfolio, just to like build up your portfolio, and you're kind of, how do you pick and choose your subjects? Right? Like if you're trying to get work in, let's say, illustration, like what are your go-tos? Like what are the things that you're like, oh, this is the image that I would want to create just for the fun of it, you know? And to show, like, because it's a choice of like what you're using to showcase your ability. So that's why I'm interested. I'm interested in your choices, you know? Hey, what's up, Adamantium? Afternoon from Northern Cali. Hey, what's up, Kyle? You like oldies too? I'm a big fan of the oldies. It's like, love it. Love the classics. And when I was first doing my streams, I was actually playing this stuff a lot. And then I got really into synthwave for like a couple of months.
Hey,
Maddie, yes, I can hear you. Here, let me turn off this music. And I'm going to crank up the volume there. Speak again.
Okay, yeah, let me know. Let me know if I need to do
You
anything on my end.
you sound very clear to me. Very bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Great. I'm using my nice microphone, so
Okay, great.
yeah.
Chat. Let me know in real time if you can hear her or not, or if it just sounds like I'm talking to myself, which I often do on these streams. So,
Yeah, that's fine. They can just imagine what I sound like.
how was your day?
Oh, not bad. Always nice when I get to work from home. So,
Yeah, very cool.
um, yeah, yeah. How about you?
Well, I work from home, all the time. Like that's all I
Yeah.
do. So it is great. But sometimes I guess you don't have this experience because you do from home and in person, so you don't have that feeling of like I need to go outside because you're like I've been outside. There's nothing to go out there.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I don't see a ton of people when I go into the office,
Hmm.
so like I tend to just sit in my office, which I don't share an office with anyone, so sometimes I do get the urge to like go out and socialize still, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So for my audience, right now the chat is just growing. People are just coming in. So there's only 7 of them. But for
Mhm.
anyone watching this, I would love if you could introduce yourself, Maddie.
Yeah, so my name is Madison Touran. I usually go by Maddie. But I am an oil painter. I've only been oil painting for a few years now, but I just started my YouTube channel. I'm trying to be more consistent with it lately, and I'm trying to make money off of oil painting now and expand my audience.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. But I kind of do more like I don't know what I'd call my style. Like I guess maybe more like sort of classical realism esque, but maybe like a little bit more like surrealish vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just enjoy traditional painting. I was really into digital painting before I started with oil though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. That's how I got started with Dave's Patreon, which I met a lot of people through the Discord, but I was really trying to get better at like digital painting and you know, just improving and
Yeah.
getting better and stuff.
Yeah. I understand that. I so I oils. I just never quite could make it work for me. I was always a watercolor guy, and
Mm.
I was always like pen and ink and watercolor, and then when I was going to art school, they were like really passionately trying to force me to do oils all the time. And
Hmm.
I painted with oils for, I want to say like 4 years. And
Oh
man,
wow.
I just hated it. It was
Oh
like, because
really?
I knew people who could make beautiful images with oils, and for something about my style, it always came out really muddy. And then
Oh, interesting.
whenever I would do a thesis where it was just like you work in a mode or whatever medium you want, I would do watercolor. Then it would be like you know my best work. So I was just like, okay, clearly water is the medium that I like working with. But
Oh,
yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I couldn't I hated watercolor. I tried watercolor and I got into gouache,
Mhm.
which I did really like gouache and then I heard oil was kind of similar to working with gouache, so I kind of switched over, but yeah, watercolor it just scared me cuz you like everything's so permanent. Like with
Yeah.
oil, if I make a mistake, I can just wipe it away or paint over it eventually. But watercolor, it's like everything's kind of transparent, so
Hmm.
you can't really like hide mistakes as well.
Yeah, but it's funny because I obviously that's true, but for some reason with it never made me nervous with watercolor. I always felt like I had total control over the image.
Hmm.
So I think maybe it's because the nature of water, the way you can move it around a page. Also, I saw this. You ever hear of Ian McCaig?
Yes. Hmm.
He has these like public, where he like puts on a show illustrating at a convention, and
Hmm.
he was showing how you can like if you keep a particular sponge or paper towel nearby, and you can just like pull water off the page to like redo things or basically to erase and do it again. And it looked like such a simple, but he has that magic thing, some people have where he's just he's doing something that I didn't even know you could really do in that way, and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing it. It looks like, I don't know, the effortlessness of it. Where he was doing a portrait of somebody like in real time with watercolors, like and it was just like beautiful and perfect. And then he's like, oh, and this is how you can fix it if you don't like what you're doing. Then he just like takes a paper towel and he just starts like dabbing it and just pulls the paint off of some places and then just keeps and then
Oh,
just like
interesting.
reapplies it, because he used like a wet paper towel. But I think you probably have to have like specific watercolor paper and but
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe if I spent more time with it, but I guess I just switched over to gouache, which I really liked, but
oh
yeah, then
yeah. So
oil.
what's your experience of the difference between gouache and like oil, for example?
Well, I didn't I I messed around with gouache for a much shorter time than with oil, so I really didn't like get great at it or
Hmm.
anything. But I did really like it. Again, it's hard like watercolor because there's that it's harder to like wipe away your mistakes.
Hmm.
Like same with watercolor, but I liked how it was opaque, so you could cover mistakes up easier.
Yeah,
So
of course.
and I really liked like blending. I had an easier time like blending with gouache compared to like watercolor, but
Hmm.
that's probably just because I didn't spend enough time getting used to like water based paints.
Yeah, yeah. It's also gouache always felt to me like the love child of watercolor and oils.
Hmm.
Would you say that's true?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds right. I've heard it's similar. Well, there's some like I heard it can be similar to acrylic too, but I've never messed around with acrylic, so I can't speak to that. But I thought about going trying acrylic gouache after I got into gouache, which apparently is actually just acrylic paint, but it dries more matte, so they call it acrylic gouache for some reason. I don't know,
Okay.
but yeah, but so I almost started using that, but then I was like, F it, I'm just gonna try oil instead.
Yeah.
And then I liked oil a lot, so I haven't tried anything else since then.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, when you find that thing that's comfortable for you, like you got to just do that. That's,
Mm-hmm.
it's good to like, I feel like with art, I kind of treat certain things like the way a kid treats their parents when they're really little, where you kind of like, you explore an area and then you run back to your mom and then you explore a little more, then you run back to your mom, like the way that little kids will like learn about a new space.
Uh-huh.
And you know how parents will do that? They'll just stand in like one corner of the park and the kid will run a little distance and run back. Like that's kids like that's a child like learning a space and like looking back at their parents to make sure that they're still safe. Like it's like a natural thing that humans do. That's kind of how I feel about exploring different art styles. It's like I stick to kind of what I'm really comfortable with and then I branch out little bits here and there in different spaces.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I wanted to say something about because you were trying to describe your style. And I would say if I had to put your style in any kind of I don't want to say put it in a box because that's such like a generic phrase for just defining
Mm-hmm.
something, but I would say you're like it's like representational painting with a touch of surrealism and you have a bit of an illustrator's touch with the way you do it.
Uh-huh.
Would you say that's true? It feels like you the way you approach a subject is kind of like an illustrator.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I definitely started out. That's right. Like I started out doing a lot of like, fan art and I'm really into like video games and anime. So I
Oh.
like that probably led into me having more of like an illustrative style. But yeah, I'm happy for you to put me in a box because I just will like hear what you think about what my style is because like sometimes I'm like, do I really like I just do what I enjoy
Mhm.
painting, but it's hard to like be an outsider and look at it and be like, what kind of art is this? I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, also, but like, who cares? Like, what? Like, I
Yeah,
guess
exactly.
for the purpose of marketing, we do have to be able to define it a little bit. But in the end, it's like you're painting, and like people who are gonna buy
Yeah,
those paintings don't
exactly.
care. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to be better about like expanding my audience, so I am trying to figure out like who my audience is.
Yeah.
So that's like part of the reason I've been like thinking about it more, like who likes my art. I don't know, or who would like my art if they knew about it.
What have you concluded about who your audience is?
I honestly, I haven't concluded that much yet. I'm still working on it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm finding artists that I like, and I'm thinking who would like their art.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if my art gives like the same vibes yet, but maybe someday.
Yeah. I mean, I had an interesting realization. I was talking, so Gross Girls in the chat. Hey, what's up, Gigi? And I was talking, I think it was with her, I was talking about this where I realized a fair portion of my audience. This was a shocking moment to me. But then I was like, why did I not realize this? So from my work on Black Marrow, my book, I realized a fair part of my audience are furries, like at least.
Oh, interesting.
At least a small amount. At least a larger amount than there was before this, for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either, but it does make sense, like thinking about it.
Yeah, it was like a shocking moment when I was looking through all my new followers, and a fair percentage of them had like the furry type images in their stuff, and I was like, okay, all right, I accept that this is the life I'm making. But but it was kind of funny, and I appreciate anyone buying the book. Obviously, I'm not no judgment there, but but it was just kind of funny because it's one of those situations where you're like, wait, is my work really about that? And it's like, no, it's not. But you can't control who actually responds to it,
Yeah.
And I'd be interested in seeing, like, because your audience is going to keep growing. Especially on your YouTube page. I really liked, that was when I actually realized I wanted to have you on to talk, because I was like, oh, cool. I like what she's doing with her YouTube channel.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing with my YouTube. I'm just like I'm just making videos that it's like I enjoy watching like kind of like tutorials and people just talking about stuff and like explaining their process. So that's kind of what I've been doing, but I don't know if that's the best like to like get an audience. I don't know, but
I think so.
We'll see. Okay, I'm just gonna be consistent with what I'm doing for a while and see what happens. And if nothing happens, then that's fine.
Yeah. Also, anybody who's curious, please subscribe to her channel. Her YouTube link is in the chat. Not in the chat. It's in the video description. I mean to say, she's only got a few videos up, and they're all really fun. I mean, like I thought that your approach was very earnest. I really liked how you were just very frank. Like, you have a video. So when I was scrolling through her videos and like trying to figure out who Maddie was, just kind of getting a sense of her personality, which obviously you can do from 8-minute videos. Everybody knows that. That's the best way to learn a lot about a person, is just seeing the public presence they put forward in short increments. But she had a video that was like about, I think it was that you had got something into a gallery and you were excited about it. And then there was another one that was about experiencing rejection from a gallery. And they were like back to back. Like I watched one right after the other, and I was like, "Ooh, I like the emotional roller coaster of this."
I know.
But that's going to be helpful to people because it's showing that it's not, it's not the Instagram thing of like, look at all these cookies I eat and I'm still totally ripped. It's like real life,
right. Yeah, it's like it's funny because in the video I didn't even notice this until I was editing, but the one where I talk about rejection, I was thinking of a different rejection than the one that I was intending to talk about, because I get rejected constantly. So, but I mean, I'm happy with the one I didn't get rejected to. That's like my highlight of the year. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I had more I kind of wanted to talk about in that video, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to be too something else. Okay, I'll say it on this video because who cares? But it's sometimes if I'll apply to a show, get rejected, and then I'll go through and look at the paintings that got accepted. And it's like, I'm not going to say anything to these artists or anyone, but in my head, I'm like, I'll say it to you. And I'm not going to like, obviously point out people, but I'll see paintings and I'm like, okay, like I know technically I enjoy looking at my painting better more than this painting that got in. So I'm just like, I'm doing what I can. If I don't get in, they just didn't want my painting. And so I don't, it makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Like
Yeah.
looking for examples where I'm like, okay, I think I'm better than that. Like,
Yeah.
not that, so sometimes I think that can feel nice. So you can feel less bad about yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense,
Oh no, I
but
mean, well, it is true that they think about it almost in terms of like marketing. It's not even about always the best painting. It's like, do we have something in the, because they're trying to sell as many as they can. So it's kind of like Netflix trying to make sure they have enough active genres on their streaming service. That's kind of how galleries are these days. I mean, or probably any days. They're like, we want to have a touch of this, a little bit of representational stuff, So I
right.
would say you getting rejected probably wasn't about the quality of the painting. I mean, like, and that's not necessarily cope. I think that that's probably, there's at least some truth in that for sure.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it's like, just how everyone or many people tend to have like imposter syndrome. So it's like when I get rejected like nonstop, it's like, do I think I'm better than I am? And then I look at things, I'm like, okay, maybe they just didn't want me. Maybe I'm okay. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Well, imposter syndrome is actually really funny because it changes form. Like for me, I mean, I'll be honest, these days I'm fairly confident because I think I found a bit of a niche for myself.
Hmm.
But I'm confident because I know where my work is flawed, and because I know where my work is flawed, I don't have to wonder. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I know that I'm bad at this, and I know that I'm good at
Yeah.
this, and I know
Well,
that.
and you've had like a successful Kickstarter, like you're getting work. So I feel like you've gotten those check marks where you're like, yeah, I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, well, it helps to. It's like, okay, if people are willing to pay me, I must be okay. But it's also like, even with Black Marrow, like I've been, there's people posting reviews right now, and it's like there's like buzz around it, which I've never had before, and it's been really funny because I was talking to my fiance about it, and I was laughing because I was like, these people are so excited about this book. Do they know that I just made this up? like, like,
Yeah,
like, do they know I just, guys, I just drew this in my underwear. Like, that's all I did.
yeah.
This is not a real thing. Like it's like something about the fact that I just made a comic and that people are buying it feels odd to me. It's like, and that's my version of imposter syndrome. It's like they
Yeah.
know I'm not like a real artist. I'm just,
You're just pretending to be an
yeah,
artist.
yeah. It's
No,
like,
yeah.
like Dave Raposa, he's a real artist. Like
Yeah.
he's on the DeviantArt YouTube channel. Like,
Yeah.
um,
That's when you know you're an artist. Yeah.
did you ever watch that with Dave on there?
I didn't watch it until I heard him make fun of it, and then I was like, now I have to watch it so I know what he's making fun of.
Oh, what did
And
he say
then
about it after I didn't hear that part.
oh, just that they were like making him mess with all these props, and it was just really silly. And obviously he's like not that kind of, his personality didn't like mesh well with, I think, the personality they were trying to give him for this video. So he was just kind of like being super silly, I guess, during the filming, and
Well, yeah, I mean,
it was
because
just silly.
he it was amazing because he's just like on there, DeviantArt, like the mecca for like illustration, and he's on there talking about telling stories about when him and Dan beat the shit out of a teacher.
Oh my gosh.
They were in high school and just beating up a teacher who was like, because one of the teachers apparently attacked Dave with a T-square or something.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was after school, nobody was there, so him and Dan just like roughed him up. And he's telling this story. You can see the host of the channel like looking at the camera, being like, "Are we going to use this? Is this real?" Like,
I didn't see that video. I saw one, they made him do like a promo video for some like competition, I think. And
oh
that's the one
yes,
where, that's the video I'm thinking. I haven't seen any other video.
there's one I'm thinking of. I'm pretty sure it's DeviantArt. Where they interviewed him long form about his career, and he just starts telling random stories.
Oh,
And it
interesting.
was just funny too because that was before I knew Dan, and
Hmm.
now Dan and I are fairly close, and it's just really funny. It's just been like really
Yeah.
funny getting to know him and like having dinner at
Yeah.
his house and like visualizing him beating up a high school teacher.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
it's great. Honestly, it's classic Americana is what it is. But
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, but I don't know how we got on that. But here, I'll check the chat. Uh,
Let
the
me
quality of
see.
the book is really impressive. Oh, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, brother. Yeah, so a bunch of people just subbed to your channel.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Kyle says, "Yeah, I think it was a DeviantArt interview that came out around the same time as the contest promo. Yeah, they were like back to back, right?
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like they were filmed in the same day because Dave is wearing that same like black blazer T-shirt thing with the black hat.
Oh,
He looks like a 12-year-old kid who just found a bunch of money. Um,
I'm silly.
yeah, his it's great. It's great. It's like because Dave he still has the baseball cap that he wears all the time, but he has like a blazer on. He kind of looks like Kevin Smith when he's like dressed up for the Oscars. Um,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's great.
gosh.
But yeah, so I saw your recent painting, time lapse, and I really liked the way you were like apologizing for the way it was edited, but I actually really like the editing of it. I like that the time lapse you can see the time of day changing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was getting on my nerves. I bought new lights, so we'll see if the lighting continues to be an issue for me. But yeah, it was like the time of day is changing, and also once the lighting is like only from my like tiny little ring light I got from my mom from when she had like an Etsy store. She
Hmm.
like gave it to me. So I've been using that to kind of help. And then I obviously have my ceiling light. But the like color temperature will randomly change, and there's like it's like this strobing effect when I fast forward. I don't know if it's from my camera settings. I don't so many technical things that I wasn't aware of that now I'm like trying to fix.
Wow, that's you see that's the kind of actual dedication to video quality that we just avoid here on my channel. I just have like a camera on autofocus, and I just hope it doesn't crap out when I'm drawing. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at your videos, like the quality looks great, and you've got two different views, which is it's nice that you are showing like your pencil and your iPad, like not just streaming from the iPad, because I think people really like to see that, more than just what's happening on the iPad.
I'll be honest, it changed the channel completely.
Oh,
Because my initial thing is I was using a Huion and I was streaming from that because even though I prefer Procreate, I couldn't stream from the iPad. I couldn't figure out how to stream from that to OBS, and I
mhm.
tried so many things. It just wasn't working. And then finally, I just bought a second camera. I set it up, and I had it now aiming toward the thing. And my videos started getting way more attention, like way more views. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I think people really like, and I personally really like it too, being able to like see the pencil with the brush strokes. I don't know why, it just makes it, I don't, more interesting to watch, I think. And it gives you like a better idea for your process too.
I think it's more informative. I think that's a big thing is that
Yeah.
you can see how the person's making decisions with their hand. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, for me, it was a big change. And I was like, I realized like, oh, when people look at the thumbnail and they can see a hand holding the pencil, they're way more interested in just watching like a screen grab of like a little cursor
Hmm.
moving around. There's still people who get like 50,000 views with just like recording Clip Studio for like a screen capture, but
Hmm.
that never worked for me. I don't think my work really looks that great in Clip Studio, so it was one of those things where it was like, yeah. Anyways, but
Yeah, I like it.
so can I ask, did you go to school? No, you went to school for I forgot. What do you do? You're a scientist.
Yeah, so yeah, I have my PhD in planetary geology. So my day job, I archive data for NASA pretty much.
Whoa.
It sounds more interesting than it is, but it's someone has to do it.
It
So
doesn't have to be interesting because it's impressive. And and when something's impressive, you barely need to expound upon it because I'm already impressed. That's awesome. Wow, that's so you're probably a little too smart to talk to all of us.
No, no. I have nerdy interests, and yeah, so no, I'm not, and I feel like my personality is more like dumb blonde kind of, but
In what way?
I'm just very, I can be kind of like, nothing against blondes. I used to be blonde before I dyed my hair back brown again, but I'm just very like kind of ditzy at times, and yeah, I don't know.
See,
It just
I'm gonna use
typical
a
dumb
clickbait what do you call it, a clickbait title. It's gonna be Maddie Maddie thinks all blondes are idiots, and it's
blonde.
gonna have
Yeah.
like it's gonna have a thumbnail of me looking like really surprised, like oh man, like I'm gonna do all that stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Oh my gosh.
no, but that's yeah. I mean, well, isn't that really common though that people who are really intelligent are also like they have these huge gaps in like their reasoning sometimes where they just come across as I don't want to say stupid, but almost like childlike. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, yeah, going through like grad school and like meeting, everyone else who is in my field. That yeah, there are a lot of characters and people who are not, I don't know, super relatable. I like to think I'm more down to earth than other people, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, and I just think I am.
no, I mean I think you're. I mean I would agree you're very approachable. Um, but I also haven't met you in person. Maybe you have a different demeanor.
Yeah, I'm huge bitch in person.
I, I know, I know. I read the wiki on you. Everybody says she's a huge bitch in person. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Her paintings are great.
She
Have you,
seems nice on the internet, but you meet her in person, she's horrible.
you're gonna be like, what's his face? That guy who got canceled, Boogie. Have you heard of him? That YouTuber Boogie.
Oh, yeah, the guy, he was really big, and then he like lost a lot of weight. He's still big,
He
but
keeps
that
gaining it
guy,
back. He gained it back
yeah.
like 4 pounds after like raising money to like help me lose weight. Everybody donated, and he just like got like gained the 100 pounds back. But yeah, that was not even the
Oh,
worst thing he did. He also lied about having cancer. You've heard about this?
yes. No, I've heard about that because he lied about having a type of blood cancer that not a
Hmm.
lot of people know about it. I actually know about it because my dad has a super similar cancer. So I like know a lot about
Oh
it.
yeah,
And I have like more, I mean, my dad, he's not great at communicating when with his health issues, but so it's just funny hearing him talk about it when I like have more intimate knowledge about this condition. But it's
yeah,
funny because it's not like this specific cancer, it's not like it doesn't get, like, you just live with it. So that's why it's interesting. It's not like you don't get chemo really for it or anything. You just live with it, and then I think you might, it impacts you more as an older person,
hmm,
but it's a lot different than like the typical cancer you'd think of. Which when Boogie was talking about it, he was acting like, it's like lung cancer or
like a
something,
yeah, like it was a death sentence. Yeah,
right? And it's not at all. Like, my dad has had this cancer for a while now, and you just like deal with it, and you like deal with the symptoms. But right now there's no like cure, but it's not like you get chemo for it or anything. So it was interesting how much Boogie was like playing it up for like
yeah.
sympathy.
But that's how they knew he was making it up. I mean, because what essentially happened, I watched this like this is what you do when you work from home, guys. I watched a documentary about Boogie and his cancer lying, and the people broke down like every appearance on YouTube that he had, and it was like he basically was told by the doctor that he is in a position where he could have something, and then he just said he did, and then
Yeah,
it
that's
was
so
like basically
stupid.
he has the sickness that could lead to that particular type of blood cancer without any real like and so the thing that gave it away was like you said, him playing it up, where like he was talking to some other guy on YouTube, some other personality on YouTube, and
Hmm.
the guy was like, hey listen, I'm I hope you get better, I hope, and Boogie was like, well, it's cancer, people don't get better. and
That's stupid.
and a bunch of people were like, people beat cancer all the time, and people who have it
Yeah.
never say, I'm not going to get better. They always are like, I'm going to try my best to, like, that
Yeah.
is a narcissist going for pity. Like, and it's
Yeah,
so
he's
gross.
definitely just like playing up the like, woe is me, I
Yeah.
have cancer. When the type of cancer he has isn't even like, it's not like that. It's
Yeah.
just so stupid.
But he used it to get like millions of dollars from people. It's so sad.
Oh my, I didn't know that part. I
Oh
was
yeah.
aware of like the drama with when and then he like admitted he was lying and then he kind of went back on admitting he was lying.
Yep.
So
Yeah. That's
I don't
exactly.
know. I
It's
kept
amazing.
up with that part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Clearly, we both work from home. That's
Yeah, I know. I watch all kinds of
yeah.
stupid videos.
Yeah. It's pretty great. It's pretty great stuff. I'm glad people like that. Well, he is how I learned the term lolcow.
Oh, yes, I'm aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aware of they have a podcast,
Oh, they do.
a lol cow it's called lol cow, I think.
I actually didn't know about the podcast. Can you tell me about
Yes,
that?
I don't watch it. I just know it exists, but Boogie is on it and some guy named Keemstar. A bunch of not very likable people are on it.
Yeah. Well, that's like YouTube in general.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like a huge portion of YouTube is like seeing a channel with like 180,000 subscribers, and you're like, this person is unlikable and has no charisma. Okay, never mind. Um,
And he's dating like a 16-year-old. She's not 16, but she looks like a baby.
well, she's very young,
Yes.
and she is an adult. So like, if someone's an adult, I'm like, whatever. It doesn't involve me. But he definitely like plays up how young she looks in a way that's creepy. Where he's like fetishizing the fact that he's like a man who's like 50 with a 20 something who looks even younger than 20. Like he kind of jokes about it in a way that makes me want to throw up. So yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Boogie. What we're saying is Boogie is a role model for young men, and that you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, is gross. That whole thing was but you know what it is though. Also, is that whole thing was so immensely darkly entertaining. Like
Yeah.
watching him get caught lying and like watching watching it just get worse and worse. I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how enthralled I was by the cringe of like his existence. Like I was just like, and the sheer Schadenfreude of being like, I am so glad that I am me and not this guy.
Yeah, it definitely is like a train wreck that like you can't stop watching.
Yeah.
Have you seen when he like hired, I don't know, he had that documentary made about him, which I don't know if that was pre faking cancer or post faking cancer.
That's how we that's how we measure all time and right now. It's like BC AD. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
So some guy was making like it was a well-produced documentary, but he tries to help Boogie get a job, and Boogie's like talking to the hiring manager and saying like, yeah, I'm disabled, I'm morbidly obese. If you look me up, you may see that I maybe beat my wife and am a pedophile. It's like he's just saying all these things like right out the gate to the hiring manager, and the hiring manager's like, okay. It's a good clip. I love it.
Someone said he was a child predator. I didn't even know about this.
Well, I'm assuming they were probably just saying that because of his
wife. Yeah.
His relationship, his current relationship, but yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm not going to defend Boogie. I just feel like having a female partner who looks younger than you is just also like very common. Like, you know, like I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'3", and my fiance, you know, when you're close to her, you can tell she's an adult woman, but next to me, she would probably look like my daughter or something. You know, she's like, she's like 5'3". I mean, she would look like my daughter because we're racially so different, but she's so small that it's like, you know. But
that's funny.
But it's probably different for
people
like Boogie. I don't know how we got on him, but he is.
I don't know either.
He's in my thoughts a fair amount of the time. Like I know. I don't know. Whenever something embarrassing happens, I just think about him having to admit on a live stream that he made up a terminal illness for attention, and I know. And I fall into a deep, dreamless sleep.
Well, it's nice. It's nice having someone to talk about it with because I wanted to talk about my dad with it, but talk to my dad about it. But I was like, this is too much to explain to like a 50-year-old man, and he's just not gonna understand. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna explain the boogie lore to my dad.
Yeah, well, there's a meme of a guy like trying to explain he's like trying to explain a particular meme to his girlfriend, and he's like, okay, honey, I have to explain like 20 years of internet culture to you in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that would be pretty much this, except like an older guy who's like not not aware of anything on the internet really at all.
Yeah, I mean, when my grandfather was alive, he came up to me with a newspaper and he was like, "Can you explain this to me?" And it was an article back in like 2003 of some article about like someone calling Obama a bit emo, like I guess because he was so emotive, and
Interesting.
they called him like the emo president. And I had to try to explain to my grandfather like emo culture, like what
Oh
on
my
earth,
god.
and I could just see his old eyes glaze over, like what are you talking about?
Oh
And
my
now
god.
I have that experience whenever I talk to Radiante because she's Gen Z, and I still don't know what on earth Riz is and why people use
Yeah.
that word.
I think Riz is just short for charisma, which
Is it really?
I think so.
Is
I'm aware of more Gen Z things because I have a bunch of siblings who are like 10 and 11 years younger than me,
I see.
and like a niece and nephew who are like even younger than that. So I'm like I kind of know what the kids are up to these days a
Yeah,
little bit.
you're kind of on the up and up with that stuff.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
Riz
like to think.
just means charisma.
I think so. Like, yeah, you're saying like, oh, he has Riz. It's basically like saying he has charisma.
Hmm.
Like he's charismatic.
Trying to think of all the ways in which it's been used around me, and I'm trying to remember if I've ever heard it said in a way that I can now like reverse engineer conversations I have had to
Yeah.
figure out what people were talking about.
Well, now you know.
But yeah, Radiante, she just like trolls me by like she's just like DMs me memes and things that she knows I can't possibly understand because it's
Oh my
so
god.
full of Gen Z jargon that I'm just like it just makes my head hurt.
Nice.
Yeah, you know Radiante, right? I feel like you've
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know off the top of my
okay.
head.
Well, you know a lot of the same people. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, she's a friend of Dan's, um,
Okay.
and I've had her on my show before. My show, my channel.
Okay.
Like I'm Johnny Carson. I've had her on my little YouTube channel before.
Hey, this is a show. It's got a name and everything. That's what makes things a show. They have names.
Actually, I don't really know what the semantically what would make it a show versus just a guy talking into a. So you're right. We can just decide what it is.
Yeah.
Postmodernism, baby. Um,
Yeah.
wait, so can I ask? So here's the thing. I'm still figuring out like the format of the big draw is like it's kind of a Joe Rogan-y thing where people just come on and we just talk about whatever they want.
Hmm.
But I do want to ask some specific questions about your art, but I don't want it to turn into like an interview like what were your influences?
No, yeah, that's fine.
But I do want to ask what were your influences? So
Right. I mean, it changes a lot. But right now, I got really influenced by like Bouguereau. Are you familiar with Bouguereau?
no. No, I'm not.
He
But
is
I'm
an
also
old school.
I don't I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I just want to share with you some things from the chat. Um it's confirmed that it means charisma, and Gross Girl says she says Johnny Carson, bro, you're in your 30s, act like it. It's really mean. All right, continue.
uh wow. Oh, Bouguereau. You don't
Booger,
know. You
yes.
probably do know Bouguereau. You just don't know the name. You would definitely know Bouguereau paintings.
It's possible, yeah.
They're like super. He was really famous. Let me.
Yeah, do you want to
Um.
drop it in the chat for us?
Sure. Let's see. Oh, wiki art. That's good. Okay, here are a bunch of paintings. He's got like a really famous like Dante and Virgil painting. Um, I'll just paste this link in the chat. Um, Oh wait, you might have to like copy and paste it. I don't think it's clickable, but yeah, he's like a really good like classical realism painter from like the 1800s in France. But I just love how he paints like figures and forms. It just all of his paintings are so beautiful and they're huge seeing them in person.
Yeah.
Um but I really love him. And then I
Did
also
you
I
drop it in the chat, in the YouTube chat?
yes.
Oh, I'm not seeing
I
it.
dropped some like wiki art link.
Oh, okay. Is anyone else seeing it? I don't really see it. Maybe it's on a delay or something.
Uh, yeah, let me know. Let me know if it. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's hidden because I pasted a link.
You
I'll
should
just
be
pay.
able
I'll
to.
just. Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'll
you
just
should.
paste it. I'll just.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off again.
I'll, no, you're good. I'll just paste his name and then people can Google him.
Just so you know, guys, there's a little bit of a delay on Google Chat. So if I cut anyone off who I'm talking to, it's not because I'm so eager to talk over people. I just sometimes the timing is a little weird. Oh no, Gross Girl confirms you are blocked from adding links, but I think
Yeah, that makes sense. I
okay, she can do it because she's a mod though. So yeah, so Boogerow, and then
Yeah, really love Bugaro. He was a big influence, and then I'm obsessed with Lo Chan Pang. He is like a contemporary artist. I'll type his name too.
I might
I'm
know him.
I'm
Yeah.
obsessed. I just took a he visited St. Louis, which is where I'm like kind of near,
Oh, cool.
and did a oil painting workshop. So I took that from him, and that was great. I really learned a lot, but he's really nice too. And then I really like Will St. John also, who's another like contemporary oil painter. But they all are kind of more realism based, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all have pretty different styles.
Yeah, so there isn't really like one drawing style that you're looking at a lot and obsessing over. It seems like it's just like a particular, I'm going to say, a constellation of ineffable qualities.
Right. Yeah, it's like I just find stuff that like I just love looking at and it's all tends to be pretty different, but yeah, I'd say Lo Chan Ping is like my big inspiration right now. I just really love all of his paintings.
Kyle says the only boogie I know is Boogaroo.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yo,
he's the only one that matters.
Kyle is witty as hell. And he also says I need my own Andy Ritter. Um,
What's an Andy Ritter?
what is an Andy Ritter? Do you know the Conan O'Brien show?
I'm aware of it. I've never watched it.
Oh, he's really funny. He has a guy Andy Ritter who's kind of like his co-host who just sits next to him
Oh.
and is like and he's saying I need one for the big draw. I need to have like a guy who's just there to like be supporting humor. I don't know.
Oh, nice. Yeah, just like laugh at all your jokes in the background.
Yeah, the odds that that person's going to be more charismatic than me are pretty high though. So I don't know if I want to introduce
They'll
any.
steal your show.
Yeah, I mean my Riz is not quite at the level of some other people. So, but that's so yeah. So you would say Lo Chan Pang is sort of like your big influence right now.
Yeah, I'd say so. I really like his work is like very realistic looking though, which I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, is realism your goal right now? Like just to get closer to physical reality with the
I
pieces?
I mean, I definitely want maybe not like hype like I like some like stylization and I think I naturally do it even when I'm not trying to, which maybe isn't a good thing, but yeah, I want to be able to make super realistic paintings if I want to. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting there. There's faces are hard and so is anatomy.
Oh, well, so are you? I don't think you're avoiding faces though, even if you do find them more difficult, because I've seen a lot of your pieces are portraits.
Right. Yeah, I enjoy painting portraits and figures, so I know I'm not like as realistic as all these other people are though, so I still have more practicing to do.
Yeah, as someone who you said you really like manga and anime and stuff. Have you ever been interested in that? Have you ever been interested in like trying your hand at that particular medium?
I mean, I I was interested more in like making like I guess like manga and anime inspired like illustration. So I've never really been interested in like making, well, that's not true. I have been interested when I was like really young. I have a bunch of like super silly comics that I made when I was like a small child. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't wrap my head around like planning like scenes and then like frames that look good. Like all of that just seems so challenging to me, which I just can't like what you're doing now. I like can't imagine how long that would take me to even like conceive of, you know?
Like the layout of a scene, like a
Yeah,
foreground
just
and
like everything that goes into it. It's like it's like doing a bunch of illustrations at once and it's like I can only do one illustration at a time. And I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, it is funny because when I so years ago in the city, I back before I moved to the country, I was in Brooklyn and I went to a drink and draw, which
Ooh.
you know everybody drinks a little bit of whiskey and then we all draw together. It was like a community thing for illustrators and stuff.
Mhm.
And I was the only comic artist there. The others there were people who worked mostly in illustration, and one or two of them were like concept artists.
Mhm.
And I remember as we were drinking, everybody's getting loose and kind of laughing and stuff. And then at some point, someone looks over because the project of that drink and draw was that we were all going to draw like a comic page, and so
Ooh.
people who are not comic artists who are from other mediums are doing comic pages. And at one point, one of them just looks over at me and he says, "How the fuck do you people do this?"
Yeah.
Because he was
That's
like,
how I am.
he's like, this is like five drawings in one thing. He's like, and you have to make it like cogent, like it has to be a story you can follow. Um, and then I realized like, oh, this is like a lot of work for less pay that I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because comic artists make less than I think illustrators overall for for a lot of.
Oh.
I mean, it depends. It's like it's a little more complicated. I shouldn't have said that because people are going to think that that's. I don't want people to not do comics because they think you're always going to be broke. You're not always going to be broke, although you might always be broke. I don't know, but but yeah, they were like, how the fuck you people do? And then I saw like years later, I was watching a video on how people animate, like traditional animators who will like draw by pencil,
Mhm.
like hundreds and thousands of frames, like working on a particular scene for like a year. And then I had the same reaction where I was like, that is more work. Like I would literally, if I had to do that for a living, I would crack. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And that like
Yeah.
it's just crazy, you know?
Yeah, and it's sad because I love the look of those like uh, the animes that were like animated back in the 90s and the early
Oh
2000s, but
yeah.
now they're using a lot of 3D and I don't, at least for most of the new things I've seen, I don't like the look of that, but I can understand why they're switching to that because I can't imagine the amount of time that like animating like scene by scene,
Yeah.
drawing out the poses like that sounds like horrible.
No, but I agree that the original like 90s and 80s OVAs like are just
Mhm.
awesome. They're so I never get tired of looking at them. And I don't really enjoy the like half digital look of some things. Sometimes it gets a
Mhm.
little too crisp. It doesn't have that grainy quality that I want,
Right.
and but then you find out like, oh, the people that were working on those old animated movies were like enormously depressed, anxious, overworked, like
Yeah.
they were sick all the time because they were inside, they were getting no sun. And I was just like, okay, yeah, all right, all right. You
Yeah.
made your point. No, I understand.
I know. Yeah, I feel like there's things that the 3D animators could use to maybe get more of that like style, like just either like decreasing the frames per second maybe of the like animation even though it's like cuz it's 3D, they can make it as smooth and crisp as they want, but I think it looks a lot better
Mm-hmm.
when they're kind of, making it less smooth and crisp and like maybe adding more noise and stuff. I feel like that would just look a lot better, but I don't know if anyone is doing that like these days, but maybe they are and I'm just not aware.
Well, I think that been a plan to reintroduce classic style animation by basically using uh, digital frames, but like still using traditional keyframes. So you know what I mean. So
Oh.
you do your your keyframes for anyone who's watching who doesn't know. It's like your principal frame in an usually determined by the director, like the art style of it, and then your animators, the underlings who are overworked and tired, are kind of like the ones drawing the frames between the keyframes to make it smooth.
Oh, okay.
So like you can use digital like keyframe type stuff to fill in some of the blanks. I don't know, and I don't know much about animation, and I feel like I'm probably saying everything wrong, and somebody's screaming at their screen right now, just yelling at their laptop and like, "You idiot! That's not how it works." I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, animation confuses me. There's so many different jobs that go into it, and it's like I can't even comprehend all the different
Yeah.
things that
Yeah, but have you
are.
ever seen those videos on YouTube of like interviewing the guy in Japan who does like, who's at some studio? It's always a windowless room, and he's always
Yeah.
he's always just like sitting there, and he's always whispering in Japanese about how he hasn't been outside in 4 days, and
Oh my
it's
god. Yeah,
just
I feel like I do
yeah, and he's wearing a mask because he's like inside. He's like, oh, I've had a cold for like a month, Um,
Oh.
it's just like it's so miserable. It's so sad.
Yeah, like the last manga that I like bought all of the
Mhm.
volumes for and read, it's called Goodnight Poon Poon. Have you heard of it?
No, but that name is amazing.
It is. It's honestly the first volume is really funny, and the rest are a little funny too. But it's honestly super depressing. So I don't know if I recommend it unless you want to like get really depressed. But the artist, he actually took photos for a lot of the backgrounds, and then I think he used Clip Studio, and there's a tool you can use to like extract the lines for your photos, and then you need to ink over the photos so he wouldn't need to like
Hmm.
use a bunch of time to like do the backgrounds and in the manga frame. So
Yeah.
I like to see how people like try to speed up their process without like automating everything. Like he's still doing the work, but he's just like finding a little hack to like speed things up.
Yeah. I mean, that's hopefully how. I mean, Studio Ghibli was kind of figuring that stuff out before before what's his face switched out. But now he's back making movies. Isn't Miyazaki back? He's like, I am retired. Then he was like, no, I'm not. Shut up. And then he just came back and did another
Oh,
one. I think that's
I
what
still
happened.
need to see the recent one that happened. I haven't watched it yet. I
What
don't
was
know
it
why.
called? I forgot what it was called. I might have seen it.
The Heron something,
Oh,
the
The Boy
boy
and the
in the
Heron.
Heron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see it. Um,
Nice. Was it good?
it's beautiful. All of his movies are beautiful, but they're getting increasingly hard to follow the plot.
Mm.
Which might be his intention, is that it's almost just pure surrealist abstraction. But like after the first half hour, I was like, okay, I don't really know what's going on, but I want to watch it to the end because it's very very beautiful. Um,
Mm.
but I don't know. Someone else might be like, this is so clear to me. I don't know why you're having trouble. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to watch it. Plus, that has my boy Robert Pattinson in it, so I gotta watch it.
Oh, as who? As the boy? As the heron?
I think he's the Heron. I think that's what I heard.
That makes more sense.
Oh, I saw. Let's see, Gross Girl.
Yeah, you're in the chat.
Tag me. Let's see. Doing realistic art sounds like it takes a lot of patience to be like. Um, yeah, it definitely takes patience, but I kind of enjoy the time it takes. I don't know, like I have an easier time. I guess that's why I like oil painting so much is when I was painting digitally, I would feel a lot more impatient about like I want the results to come quicker and I want like whatever I'm working on to look really good a lot quicker. But with painting traditionally, I think it's just like plus oils, you have to be patient anyway because they take so long to dry.
Yeah.
Um, so you kind of have to be prepared for it to like take a lot of time in general. But I feel like I kind of enjoy that process, and I don't have expectations for something to look amazing after the first layer. So I think that kind of helps my patience as well.
Mm.
I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I feel like I'm getting patient, but I also enjoy how like long it takes sometimes and to see something like slowly progress.
That's interesting. That you so you don't mind how long it is. You just feel like it seems because you were one of your videos I was watching. You were saying like I think you I don't know if I don't remember exactly what you said, but you had remarked on how slow you felt that you were as a painter, which it
Yeah,
almost
I definitely am. am very slow also.
but it feels like a lot of people who are slow workers like remark on it like they feel almost like they have to acknowledge that they're slow because they feel like there's an obligation to be more efficient. Um, and I'm wondering if like if you're just like God, I wish I was faster, or it seems more like you don't feeling that you like that you don't feel that way that you're more like well I like moving at this speed like I enjoy the process, leave me
Mhm.
alone.
Yeah, I do enjoy the process. I know I'm slow, which it would be nice. It would be nice to be a bit faster, but honestly, I'm not too concerned about it. The only thing is it's rough when I do have deadlines, which has only happened the one time when I got into that gallery and they wanted me to paint something new for it, which a lot of times when you get into galleries, they just take stuff that you submit. But for this gallery, they wanted a piece for the show they were having. So I had like I think 2 months to work on a piece. So in that case, like I guess maybe I was a little more conscious of how slow I was. But
Yeah.
yeah, for the most part, I don't really mind at all. And I like the process, but it does suck for time lapses because like it
Mm.
unless I want something because most people I don't know from what I've been reading online they say to keep your videos around like 15 minutes or so because people don't want to pay attention longer than that, so I'm like okay I'll do that, but if I have to speed up the videos so much to make it so they won't be like 20 different volumes, I don't want one painting to take up like my entire YouTube channel. I
Yeah.
want to have a little bit of variety. So
Yeah.
so I have to speed it up a lot. So I feel like that's hard. It's harder for me to describe what's happening because I'm just speeding up the video by the process footage by so much. But
It's funny that they say your videos have to be that they should be 15 minutes or less because like I don't think I have a video. I don't think I have anything on here that's less than 2 hours or something.
well, I think for streaming it's
Yeah.
a lot different, but yeah, for they say for like just putting up video. Well, and that's just like a guideline. People can do all kinds of things. I've sat and watched videos that are like 2 hours long
Hmm.
that weren't live, so
Well, especially because
different.
are you looking to monetize your channel?
Yeah, it would be cool if I ever get there.
So I'm getting fairly close, I think, to monetization. Um, I like in terms of the meeting the requirements. I'm inching along, and I'm almost there. I think I'll be at the place where I can apply for it in a couple of months, and I'm realizing like even if my streams don't get the same amount of views as like some people posting a 15-minute video that gets like 100,000 views, if I get like
Mhm.
8,000, 10,000, I might be able to make more money off of it than you might think because advertisers on a 2-hour video can put more ads in there, and I think
Ooh.
as I understand I get paid. I would hypothetically be getting paid per advertisement, so it's like that's a very comfortable format for me because I don't want to be like uploading 15-minute videos every week or something like that because it's just not what I
Mhm.
want to do with my time. Like streaming,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole point of streaming is like I'm already working on this stuff, so might as well have people around to hang out with while I'm working, and that's we all get something from it. I get to like show people something funny or like show
Mhm.
them how weird my process is and they can laugh at me, and and like in exchange I get so like it felt very it felt like it was something that I was already doing. Like I'm already working. Why not just open up a new avenue of like accessing people and talking to people, at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, but if it becomes a thing where it's like, yeah, you're not going to make any money doing this unless you're doing like, a 10-minute review of like something. And I don't want to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The whole monetization thing is super confusing to me. I thought you only needed 1,000 subscribers, so I thought you would have been able to already do it.
Yeah, you do, but you also need so that's one thing, and then the next
Mhm.
requirement is 3,000 public viewing hours,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm at 1,600 viewing hours,
Oh, nice.
which it's moving really fast now because it took forever to reach like 1,000 viewing hours. But once I switched formats and once I started doing the type of streams where you can see my hand while I'm drawing,
Mhm.
the retention level is way higher. Like way more people are just hanging out and watching the whole thing because I think it's way more enjoyable to watch an artist when you can see them physically interacting with what they're drawing.
Mhm.
Which is true for me. Like the streams that I watch, I really like seeing the artist's hand move when they're inking, especially comic art because you see the ink happening. It's very
Mhm.
satisfying to see cross hatching happening in real time. I think it might be different for painting, like digital painting. I think you don't necessarily, maybe it doesn't matter if you can see them or not because the color is the star. But anyways, yeah, that being a factor, really, I can hear my cat moving around. I gotta check her. But sorry, that was distracting. I heard my cat knock something off of off of a table.
Oh no.
I'll check on him
Causing
in a minute.
makeup.
Yeah, he's being a fucker. Um, but
Oh no.
but I'm sorry, I took over the conversation there for a minute. Continue what you were
No,
saying.
you're good. Oh, what was I even saying? I don't know if I was saying anything.
Okay.
But oh yeah, just that monetization is confusing. So I I I was going live for a bit.
Hmm.
And I did enjoy it. I don't know why I quit. I think I just had a hard time figuring out a schedule. So I was like,
Sure. Yeah.
so it makes more sense just record when I have time and then post when I have time, even though the amount of hours it takes me to like edit is
Hmm.
is more than I'd like.
Oh,
But
so you edit your own videos?
yeah.
How do you do
Mhm.
that? What are you doing to edit? Like, what software are you using?
I am using CapCut right now because I got like a free trial, but then the whole like bite dance thing, it was like banned for a second. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to use something else. But they have a lot of nice like features. I think features that a lot of like other editing software has, like maybe Adobe Premiere. I've just never used it. So um, but yeah, so I've been using CapCut recently, and
Okay.
it's very user friendly
Well,
compared to
yeah.
like other software.
That's what I might need because I am deeply intimidated by the act of editing, but I'm gonna have to start doing it at some point because there's things I want to do that I can't. But can I ask you for a favor real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Can you check the chat and maybe answer some of the questions? I'm gonna go check on this cat real quick. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, let's see. Oh, thanks, Gross Girl, for posting the links. Um, yep, Ryan's hand moves too fast. It's just like a time lapse without. Ooh, open shot. I haven't heard of open shot. Maybe I'll look at that. I liked how with CapCut you can do transcript based editing. I'm not sure if OpenShot has that. I also have installed on my computer. What's it called? It's called something Resolve, I think. Oh, DaVinci Resolve, which is also free. And I looked into it, and apparently I can do transcript based editing with that, but it costs like $200 or $300 to buy the like Premiere version. And with CapCut, I can just pay like $20 a month, which is a bit easier right now.
I'm back.
Okay.
What'd I miss?
Nothing.
um, I was doing a stream with Dan like a month ago, and
Mm-hmm.
the same thing happened where I had to leave, and Dan was talking to the chat, and I left. And when I was listening to the video afterwards. I was like listening to the playback, and Gross Girl was like talking to Dan and being like, Ryan said we can have ice cream for dinner, and like all this like babysitter
Oh
manipulation.
my gosh.
And Dan was so they were all just everybody's really funny because then Dan was just like, well, I'm going to ask Ryan when he gets back if you're really allowed to have ice cream and pizza for dinner. If he says you're not, you're going to be in trouble with me. And it's
Oh my
it
gosh.
was really funny. I was like howling. I was like, that's really hilarious. But
Revy, now my animals are causing a ruckus.
can your dog smell my cat? Is that what's happening?
Maybe,
So
yeah. I don't.
Gross Girl wants a cat update. Okay, so the cat is doing. So I'm going to give you the rundown, Maddie, of what was happening with this cat. This is a new cat. I've never had a cat before. I've always had dogs. My fiance loves cats and has been longing to have one. And this cat started coming around our house, just kind of this like feral cat. And so she started leaving little bits of food out for him, and then he just started hanging out all the time because that's what you do when somebody gives you free food.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like a porch cat, and she was like, oh, isn't that cool? And then she left out like a little heating pad for him because it was really cold. It was like negative, whatever, up here in the mountains. And then he started like, hanging out all the time, and then he started getting really sick because he had something wrong. And so then we ended up having to capture him and take him to the vet, and like basically spending time and money and everything to just like he was really sick. He had a host of illnesses from just being in the wild, and we ended up just kind of slowly adopting this cat, and now he's just our cat. And she nursed him back to health. And the whole time I was like, listen, it's not my cat. I don't know anything about cats. This is your deal. And now here I am, and I'm like, I really care very much about this cat, and I feed him 3 times a day, and it's just like, yeah. But to update everybody, the cat is doing really well. He's gained a lot of weight back. He got really mangy before. Like when he was sick, he was dying. He was looking terrible. He was really thin, and his fur was like really mangy and gross and oily, like when an animal just looks like.
Yeah.
And now he's fluffy and bright, and he's putting muscle back on. Like he's not quite as bony, and he's being a pain in the ass, which I'm being told is a good sign. He's like being an annoying animal. So now he's like getting comfortable around our house, and he's like just, sometimes he'll walk into a room and just go meow, and then like knock something over and run out.
Oh yeah. What color is he?
Well, his name is Sesame because of the color of his fur is kind of like a white with little bits of brown and gold and black.
Cute.
Yeah, he has little white paws, which the little socks that cats have sometimes.
So, yeah, one of my cats has socks.
Oh, you have cats too?
Yeah, 2 dogs, 3 cats.
Whoa, you have so many animals.
I know. It wasn't intended to be this way. It just kind of happened. So, just like taking stray cats from off the street and then finding cute puppies. So
that must be expensive, though.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and one of my dogs, she's torn both of her dog ACLs, so that was quite the expense, but thankfully I have pet insurance for the dogs, at least, because I'm less concerned about cats just because they're so small. I can't imagine that any like surgery is going to cost too much for them, but and they're indoor only, so I don't have to worry about like a lot of different injuries or illnesses they might get. There's only so much that can happen to them when they're stuck in the house. But yeah, with dog or pet insurance, the surgeries were still expensive, but it was much more manageable than if I didn't have insurance. So highly recommend pet insurance if you get a new animal.
That's good to know. Yeah, oh god, this cat is already it's already so expensive.
Yeah.
He especially because he was sick for such a long time. So it was like he wasn't eating, like he was rejecting food because he had feline COVID, which apparently one of the symptoms is anorexia.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a mouthful, right? feline
I
COVID
don't
is a thing, and then anorexia in cats is a thing.
anorexia. That's so anorexia in cats is just
Not eating.
it's not they okay. It's just funny because you think about with humans, it's like more of like a mental disorder, but for
Yeah,
cats, it's just like they just lose a lot of weight because they're just not eating because they're
yeah.
sick.
Yeah. It's not that the cat thinks he looks fat in like a bathing suit or anything.
He's got body image
Yeah,
issues.
the cat is not dysmorphic. He's just like wasn't hungry, and
Aw.
just spending so much money trying to find any kind of food he'll eat. And she's like, well, he's not supposed to eat things that are seasoned. I was like, yeah, but he's not supposed to die either. So if he doesn't eat like anything else, I'm gonna feed him like a salty, steak or
Yeah.
something, whatever. But he started eating once he got his medication, thankfully. So
Oh, good. So does the vet know like about how old he is?
yeah, he's just shy of 3 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we thought he was younger than that, honestly, because he
Hmm.
looks so small. But we're realizing it's just because he was probably not eating so much. They didn't grow so big. But
Oh, yeah, yeah, it could be. Well, yeah. Well, plus if he was just a stray before, like stray cats don't live very long because there's just so many things that can happen to them, which is so depressing. There's a
yeah,
huge stray cat problem around my house, so it's just every time I just want to bring them all inside of my house and take care of them,
yeah,
but I know I can't because there's too many of them.
yeah. And so I live in the town of Catskill in New York,
Oh,
and it's called that. It's like famous for its cats here in New York.
what?
Yeah,
That's why it's called that?
I believe historically that the name is connected to cats in some way. I don't know, but
Oh,
every year, I think in like the summer, like or the spring when the weather's nice, they start putting cat sculptures all over the town. Everybody makes their own version of it, like of like your special fun cat sculpture, and they just have them all over. It's like they very much celebrate cats as like a
oh,
thing.
interesting.
So
Are you near the Catskill Mountains or is
yes,
that
yeah, the
okay?
town of Catskill is at the foot of the Catskill Mountains. So if I drive a half hour north, I believe it's north. Then I
Mm.
go. I'm basically like in the mountains, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty beautiful. But
Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty.
but boy, oh boy, does it get cold, as you might
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah, I can imagine. It was cold here, but I bet it was a lot colder there
Oh,
because we just got that like Arctic freeze or whatever was going
where are
on
you
like a
guys at?
week. I'm close to St. Louis, so
Okay,
more in the Ozark Mountains than St. Louis, but
okay.
yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty close, like an hour away.
Have you always lived there?
But no, I've actually moved around a bit. I was born in Indiana, and then I like went to college at Purdue University, which is in Indiana. And then I moved to St. Louis for grad school, and then I ended up getting a job at the university I went to. So
I
so
see.
I've been like in Missouri ever since.
Okay. Yeah, I could have. Yeah. Okay. I was like, I didn't know if you were in California or something when we talked about the time difference. Because every time anybody tells me there's a time zone difference, they're always on the West Coast.
Oh yeah,
So, um, okay. And yeah, I don't even know if I've been to Indiana.
it's a great place.
Yeah, people drive from all over just to see it before they die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're home of. Do you know who Larry Bird is?
Do I know who Larry Bird is? Yeah, he's the best looking guy ever.
Oh, so I'm okay. So I'm gonna say you don't because I don't think he's known for his looks.
I'm being facetious.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm not okay. He's a huge basketball star, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, he's not much of a looker.
No, I think that I
So,
mean I'm joking because he's famously not a handsome man.
oh, okay. I wasn't. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe he could have been handsome in his younger years, but I just looked at
No,
photos and
no,
he
he has
wasn't.
always looked like a potato. Uh, I should. I mean, listen. I know I'm nobody to insult anybody's looks. But I just he's famously like, you know, like, yeah, but whatever. I mean, I don't think he cares. He's a millionaire many times over. I
Oh,
think he's fine.
I don't. Yeah,
But
he's a cute look.
no,
I
yeah,
don't
he's not. I mean,
know, in
listen,
like a baby kind of way.
somebody could handle it. He's got kids, so
Yeah. No, but he went. He played basketball at the university in my hometown. So that's like what we're known for is Larry Bird, and the Coca-Cola bottle, I think, was like manufactured there.
oh, was it
Apparently, I don't know. That's what they tell us in school.
the original Coca-Cola bottle, like when it was
Yes,
cocaine?
so like the curvy one. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I know in the old days it was basically cocaine, wasn't it? It's that.
Yeah, that could have been that time.
Let me check the chat real quick. Da Vinci is a growing industry.
Oh, I was talking about how I have tried to use DaVinci Resolve for editing instead of CapCut, but yeah, it is. I had a hard time getting used to the interface, but I feel like I'm getting used to it with CapCut. Kind of like how Procreate, when I first started using it, helped me get used to like Photoshop, because it's like a much more user-friendly version of like that software.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, though, I tried to use Photoshop this past year, the newer version of Photoshop, and it was like unusable for me. I couldn't, I was just like,
Oh, really?
it was like, have you seen the changes they made to the layout and stuff? It's like,
Oh, well, I have Photoshop, but the layout, I paid for the update. I like some of the tools, and like being able to organize my brushes, I like a lot, even though I don't even digitally paint anymore. So why am I paying for it? I don't know. But
you can save that money, put it toward adopting 6 more cats.
I know, yeah, I could have so many cats if I just canceled Photoshop.
I like to think that Maddie just measures her finances and like how many animals she can afford to feed based on what
10
she.
cats worth, yeah.
But let me see. Da Vinci is a growing industry. Industry standard. Kyle found Da Vinci's interface a bit clunky to use. I expect I will, as technology confounds me and makes me angry.
Am I caught up on Love Island, Love is Blind, and Love Island? I Love is Blind. I think there's a new season coming out, but I don't think it came out yet. And I didn't actually watch the last season, but I watched people recapping it for the drama. Love Island, I watched the last US season until they stopped breaking up with each other.
You see, I knew that question must have been for you because nobody's asking me if I watch Love Island.
I love watching trash TV when I'm painting sometimes, just because I don't have to like pay too much attention. So I don't like to watch anything that like requires a ton of like mental work.
Listen,
so
you don't need to worry about judgment from me, all right? I was on this stream talking about how much I loved Chainsaw Man, which is, have you seen that?
Well, a lot of people do. No, I haven't, but I've heard it's good.
It was like my first time really watching a full anime series from beginning to end, like as an adult. Like I hadn't really done that since I would like watch Dragon Ball as a kid, or like Pokemon or whatever, like when I was like a little teenager. I was huge but young. But and like I watched oh, thank you, Gigi. Thank you. I'm so glad you like the colors because I'm actually a big fan of it too. It's coming out nice. Sorry, but yeah, I watched Chainsaw Man, and I had never. It was my first time watching an anime that like made me laugh so much, like from the belly. It's so fun. It's about a demon fighter superhero, but he's like purely motivated by food and sex.
Oh, interesting.
So like there's this, it's like really a fantastic world that they create where there's like a government agency that's trying to mitigate the amount of devils, like demons that are like in the world, very like anime plot. And this one guy ends up through circumstances with like immense power where he can become like this living chainsaw that just cuts through monsters. So it's like this interesting metaphor of like this analogous to like male sexuality. He's like, he becomes like pure aggression and like cuts through, and he's this kind of like gawky, weird teenager. And the like the lady who runs this agency is like hinting at the fact that she'll probably sleep with him if he saves the world. and it's so funny because there's scenes where the other characters are like legitimate heroes and they're like, listen, we want to save humanity, and he's in, you're just a joke to us, and he's like, no, you don't understand. He's like, I'm not a joke. He's like, because I take he's like, I take sex and food as seriously as you take the fate of the world. Like, don't you understand? But the way he puts it is it made me laugh so hard. I ended up watching the whole thing and it ends up getting really good, like suspenseful and
what is it on? Like, what can you stream it on?
Hulu.
Okay.
That's where I saw it last time. I don't know where it is now, but that's where it was when I saw it last year. And I'm making it sound like it's all silly, but it has like some pretty phenomenal writing in a way that I just feel like Japan just masters this thing where they're able to like give you a ridiculously silly premise that comes across as like a parody of itself, and then they're just like slowly introducing more and more dramatic elements until you're like hanging at the edge of your seat and like, I don't know, there's just something about the unpretentiousness of Japanese animation where they can be like, it can be, here's a show about a chainsaw man cutting through monsters, and then also like here's a reflection on like nihilism and like the pointlessness of life and like finding hope even when you're just lonely and like horny and alone. It's just like it's really interesting to watch them do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I really liked Devilman Crybaby on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I saw the ad for that for the first time today. I didn't know that was already out. I thought it was like coming soon.
Well, yeah, it came out like years ago. Unless you're talking about something new.
I don't know. I just saw the ad. I saw the like intro. Someone put it on Discord today, and I think it was for the Devil May Cry. Oh no, you said Devilman, not Devil May Cry. Sorry.
Oh right, yeah,
I just got confused.
No, you're good. I was like, I don't think there's a new one unless I'm like, I am very out of the loop with things, so I could be wrong. But yeah, Devilman Crybaby on Netflix is very like over the top. And the animation at first, I was like, I don't like this style, but then the music and the everything else, I just really enjoyed it. But it is very like over the top and like sexual and violent, but I was a big fan of it.
Are you bothered by that? Are you bothered by like overt sexual content and stuff like that?
No, but I know some people are, so I'm just putting that out there just in case.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get ready to go because I got to pick up my fiance from work. But I want to address the chat one more time. Gross Girl says, Ryan, watch it. Watch it as in watch something, or as in watch yourself because you're talking about sex and violence. Oh no, she's saying, okay, I see. She's going watch. She's something else that was recommended. And she says it is created by Masaki Yausa. And if you like that, you might like Kaiba. Well, there's a lot of things I haven't seen. I'm not going to remember these names. You may have to like message me on Discord. I'm old, and these are new names to me. Devilman Crybaby. That's what she's talking about. Okay, yeah, because I did see the original Devilman. I saw parts of it, and wow, is that shockingly depressing at the end. But okay. Yeah. Is anybody? Do you want to address the chat before I sign off, Maddie?
Thanks for watching and subscribing and liking and all that. And thank you, everyone. And thanks for having me on, Ryan. It's nice talking and meeting you.
Yeah, it's really great to meet you. Feel free to come on anytime because like the way that this particular YouTube cast is kind of structured is like I kind of have recurring guests. That's mostly what I have is like people just come on. I want people to feel like they can just call me whenever while I'm streaming and just talk.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I just think it's a fun format where like even people in the chat, if they want to call me on Discord or Google Chat, we can just talk, because it's, I don't know. I like the casualness of it. And yeah, so that's all. But I thank you so much for coming on, Maddie. It was like really great to meet you. You seemed like a nice person, and it turns out you are.
Thanks, you too. You too, yeah.
But you have a good night. And as for the chat, love you guys. Thanks for showing up again. Gross Girl, you're the best. Thank you for those links. Look at her go. Look at Gross Girl just like...
Yeah, thanks, Gross Girl.
Dude, she's like... I think she has 6 arms. I don't know how she does all this while also working. But, all right, good night, guys.